say this, you can't be a leader without being relentless. I know that leadership is not always going to be the most obvious thing in the world. You don't have to do a giant advocacy project with research and presenting it and doing things like that. It can literally be emailing a professor your experience and letting them know. There are so many ways to be an advocate, and there's so many ways to be a leader. And whatever you find comfort in, do it. Find your voice in leadership.
Being relentless means evolving, growing, and progressing no matter what the circumstances are.
The value of accountability is really important in our program because it not only allows us to set expectations for ourselves, expectations for our work, and allow us to build a timeline to be able to, finish those goals and achieve them, but it also holds us accountable to ourselves and to our community to make sure that the work is being done.
When I think of community, I think of diversity, support, and trust. I believe there is power that comes from being in a community that celebrates your differences and ideals and backgrounds.
Accountability to me means holding myself responsible and taking the steps necessary to reach my goals and do it in a successful manner.
As a Greenhouse Scholar, one core value that I believe is important is relentlessness. As a college student, I often become intimidated, stressed, and overwhelmed by my classes. And I realize that if I want to achieve my goals in the future, it is important that I continue to strive and remind myself what it is I want to be. Without this core value, college becomes very difficult since self-determination and relentlessness are important components to success.
Overall, it's extremely important to hold yourself accountable in college because unlike in high school, you are given an immense amount of freedom. It is up to you to follow your due dates, stay on top of your extracurriculars, and many others.
Greenhouse's emphasis on community is easily one of my favorite parts of the program, and I think there are two components to this. The first being staying involved in the community that you live in, so doing things like volunteering, public service, mentorships, and also your personal impact plan. And then the other part of this is staying involved with the greenhouse community itself. So taking advantage of networking opportunities as well as really leveraging the relationships that you can build with your fellow greenhouse scholars.
Accountability is one of the ways in which I've been able to be successful in my career, college, and my networks. So when you set a goal, the only way to achieve that goal is to hold yourself accountable. And sometimes that's not always easy. But thankfully, you have yourself, greenhouse scholars, and friends to hold you accountable. And always remember, don't play with it, stay with it, okay?
Greenhouse Scholars Core is fixed on the desire to change lives and cultivate the future leaders of the 21st century. This element in core are what bring us Greenhouse Scholars together. The passions, desires, and goals that lie within each and every one of you has the power to cultivate communities around the world that will bring about a change this world has been longing for. I urge you to discover those passions, desires, and goals and use that to foster an impactful community. This is where the true essence of community lies, the unique connectivity established through an element fixed on change.
To me, leadership is all about seeing a need and having the determination to encourage yourself and others to fulfill it. A true leader has visions of greatness for their community and the world.